I'm Janice, one of the Rainbow Consultants, and I'm here today with Dr. Karen Halinga, who is the author of Happy Cheetah, which is published by Sunlight, and Spelling You See, which is published by Demi Learning. Karen, one of the things that I noticed about the Happy Cheetah program is how very easy it is to use. When you open the workbooks that the student and the teacher are to use, everything is just right there. You have the lesson segments. Sometimes it's marked for student, sometimes it's marked for instructor. Can you take us through some of those segments?
Sure. On this lesson 26 in the Level 1 workbook, the very first thing that the student does is read the review stories back to the parent. And these are stories that the child's been working on over the last several days, and they're super easy. And this segment right here that we always start with, these review reads, helps the child develop fluency and self-confidence. The last story that the child reads is the news story for the day. The second segment is magnetic letters, and of course we always start with what they know and then we build on that. And in this particular lesson, we start with the word splash because that was a new word that was used in this story, and this will be done on the magnetic dry erase board. And in this lesson, we're working on beginning sounds. So they start with the word splash, which is the known word, and then we go to rash, dash, cash, and then you always end up with the word that you started with. The third segment on this particular page in this lesson is game time. And these are the cards that we use that are not flashcards, these are game cards. And the difference is that all of these game cards are words that are actually within the story that we're working on today and the previous stories. There are several different kinds of games that are listed at the very end of the book, and the teacher and the student can choose which game they want to play, and it only takes about 2 minutes. But the idea here is that they're using known words out of context so that they're seeing these words in a different venue. Then the fourth segment is the read again section, where the child is actually reading the news story, but this time without all the picture support. And then the think and do boxes. These are throughout the series, and these think and do boxes get harder over time. But what they do here is they divide up the components that the child needs to learn how to read well. So it says, instructor, read these sentences out loud, and then the student circles the sentence that looks right. In this case, they're going to circle the words that sound right, and in this box they're going to be circling the words that rhyme. So all of these activities change over time, but this is really quick, but it helps the child to remember the particular components of reading when they're going through a text. This page is always going to be copy work. You'll notice that in this Level 1 book, we're still practicing upper and lowercase letters, and we're doing copy work. And the copy work is always little sentences that are taken directly from the story that the child is working on, so it reinforces that new work.
You mentioned once before, too, that the copy work is always done directly below the sentence.
The copy work is always directly below because children that have difficulty with copy work or have any kind of a visual hiccup are going to have trouble copying from this page to this page or from top down. And the way that we have formatted this when they go directly under the line is that it virtually eliminates the possibility of children doing letters backwards, and that's very important. All right, and then the next 2 pages are always review of the previous lesson.
Now this would be a next day's lesson,
is that right? This would be next day, and again, we really want your child to be able to do these 2 pages in about 12 minutes max. And again, there's student and teacher in each segment, so that there's never any question at all about what it is that we want the instructor to do. We always start with review reads, we always have a little bit of magnetic letter work, and there's always a little 2-minute game time.
But the next thing is new, isn't it, on this page?
Yep, the next thing is new. These are the letter boxes. The letter boxes are really critical. They're referred to in the literature as a cognitive structuring device, and they actually help the child learn how our language works. In this book, we're doing 3 letter boxes at this juncture, and they have to say the sound as they write the word. The words for these letter boxes are on the opposite page, so we don't need a teacher manual. The letterbox words are always going to be in the lower right-hand corner of the book. The other thing that's really critical here is that when they're doing the letter boxes, it's very, very important for them to use lowercase letters because we want the brain to recognize the words, and we want them to say the sound as they write the word. So in this case, the first word is cat, and they have to go ka, a, t, and then they will do that with each subsequent word, and then when they're done with these 3 words, we want them to read those words back because we want to encode and decode in the same little sequence. The other thing that we also do, I'm sure you were going to ask me about this.
I was just going to ask you about those letters.
We have the A, B, C, and D right above the letter boxes because we want the children to not get the B and the D confused. And by having this little visual here, the parent can always gently remind the child, or they get kind of their cheat sheet. They can look up here and they can figure out which direction the B and D go. The reason that we didn't put just B and D is because that's not helpful. It's still confusing. So if you put A, B, C, D, they can always figure out which is the B and which is the D. And then we have the think and do boxes again, and then we have another page of copy work, which again should only be taking them 5 or 6 minutes.
Thank you. It looks great, and boy, does it look easy.
It's supposed to be.
Easy.